Hello, my name's Butch. Welcome to Butch's Building Blocks. Here is my cutoff bin, and I've been stashing little pieces of good things that are too good to throw away, but not really big enough to make something large. Got some purple heart, some black walnut, a little bit of Padook, some Wendy's scraps that I've cut off, more black walnut, big chunk of cherry, another piece of cherry, some maple, heck, more cherry, all cutoffs from my cutting boards. So now we've got all these pieces. They're all too darn small to do much with. So let's take them. Let's find a beautiful order for all of my colors, and let's turn them into an exotic rolling pin. Let's take our scrap waste stuff and make something exceptionally beautiful out of it. We could take these pieces and just glue them up and turn them down as a regular rolling pin. Instead, let's tip all of these on a 45-degree angle and turn it so that we look like we have a spiral going across our rolling pin. In order to do that, to make our life easy, I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle on the bottom side of these blocks so that they will all fit down nice and smooth on a solid surface for clamping. Here are our pieces. You can see each one has a 45-degree angle cut on them. Those will end up being the bottom to give us our angle. But the first thing I need to do is choose my color pattern for the rolling pin. That looks pretty darn good. We have 17 inches worth of wood. The colors look very nicely. Now I'm going to have to build some type of a jig to hold these on a 45-degree angle while they all glue up. My original plan was to have these at a 45-degree angle. But when I did that, it spread out so far that it was beyond the length of my lathe bed. So I backed it off to a 20-degree angle, and I've dry clamped it to check out what I need. As you can see here, I've got a triangular block over top of these pieces. For some reason, they kept wanting to squirt up and out. So I just blocked them in. I have a bar in the front and a bar in the back to keep them from sliding sideways. These bars will compress, and these clamps here are just holding everything in place. Now, there's one thing you need to be aware of. When using exotic woods from South America, Padook, and woods of that nature, they have a tendency to have an oily feel to them. That's because they are oily. And so before you go gluing up these exotic woods, you need to wipe them off with everyday isopropyl alcohol, which is rubbing alcohol that you can get at any store. That will strip that little oily finish off the top of these pieces and will allow them to glue up very nicely. Okay, here's our glue up. It did not turn out like I intended it to. I wanted these ends to be flat and level with each other. Just wasn't working. So now I have a jagged edge on the top, jagged edge on the bottom. My plan now is to cut a level piece there, cut a second level piece here, and then add to it maple or cherry on the top and the bottom to give me the thickness that I need. Okay, here's my stock. Now that I've cut it on the bandsaw, I'm going to have to give this 24 hours to be sure the glue is dried so that I can run it through my jointer planer to give me a nice smooth edge on both of these surfaces. Here's our block of wood. I've got it all squared up. Lost some mass on it, but we'll recover. It'll be okay. Things like this happen in woodworking. I'm going to take this piece of maple and cut it to fit and lay it on top here so that we have the same height as we do have width of our board. Here we have our multi-piece block that has been glued to a 7/8 inch piece of hard maple. The next thing we have to do is turn this down on the lathe, but as you can see, the angle on both of these sides will not allow your lathe chuck piece to fit in nice and squarely. In order to solve this problem, I cut two pieces of wood with this angle so that this side and this side are now parallel to each other. Now I have two nice ends in which to put my lathe pieces. All set up on the lathe, and now we're ready to turn it. So let's speed things up for you and we'll get this going. Here's our piece of wood. It's now cylindrical. We have an 8-inch center, which we'll start from, and we'll put our handle holds here for our rolling pin. Okay, here we have our rolling pin cut to its final shape. Now we need to get this flattened. We're going to use some 80 grit sandpaper and a block of wood. We'll sand using the paper in this fashion here so that this keeps my sandpaper all at the same level, and we'll cut down the high spots and smooth this out very nicely. It's been sanded all the way up to 600 grit. Now all I have to do is cut it off and then polish the ends down. We will be ready to put on our finish oil. Here's our rolling pin, all cut off from the lathe, and we're now ready to apply the finish. I like using a finish of beeswax and mineral oil. Seems to work really well. Nice food grade, it's safe. So there we are. Looks really nice. It's quite decorative, fancy. It's not your normal rolling pin. Here we are at the end of our rolling pin project, and it has turned out to be an exquisite rolling pin. Even though several mistakes were made, we still were able to recoup and come back with something that's fantastic. As you can see, the pattern and design are very unique. Adding a solid piece to the back just accentuates those exotic woods. I hope you've liked this video. I hope I've given you enough information that you too can do it without making the same mistakes that I did. If you like what you see, please go to butchesbuildingblocks.com and you too can have a rolling pin just like this.